Tactical voting along Brexit lines is the talk of the town here in Westminster this afternoon, I think. This is what's been said so far. The UKIP leader, Paul Nuttall, suggested yesterday that his party may not stand against some MPs who are good Brexiteers. He gave as examples the Conservative MP, David Nuttall, and Labour's Kate Hoey. And this morning, the UKIP branch in Bournemouth West have said that they will not stand against the sitting Conservative MP, Conor Burns. They said that because Mr Burns is pro-Brexit, it doesn't make sense to stand against him. Meanwhile, the Liberal Democrat leader, Tim Farron, said yesterday that there are no circumstances whatsoever in which his party would enter a coalition with either Labour or the Conservatives. But senior Lib Dem, Vince Cable, has called the only Green MP, Caroline Lucas, a good progressive. And he urged Liberal Democrats in Brighton Pavilion to back her. The Green Party supports a so-called progressive alliance, and they've said that they won't stand against the Remain supporting Labour MP Rupert Hook in Ealing, Central and Acton. And the former Labour Prime Minister Tony Blair has said that Brexit is a bigger issue than party allegiance in this election. Joining me now is Matthew Goodwin, Professor of Politics at the University of Kent. Welcome to the Daily Politics. Is it going to be a significant issue, tactical voting? It could be. If you look at that UKIP promise to stand down against good Brexiteers, that could have real consequences. Let's say, for argument's sake, Theresa May were to win back half of the UKIP vote. That would bring about 40 to 50 Labour seats into play. On the other hand, if you look at the Lib Dems, they're really gambling on those Leave voters not turning out in a big way to allow them to try and tactically take advantage of Remainers. You talked about it being significant in the case of UKIP not standing against good Brexiteers. I mean, some people might say that UKIP is all about Brexit. It was all about the whole EU issue. So why withdraw from a seat just because the sitting MP is pro-Brexit if they've got a whole other manifesto going? Well, I suppose what they're returning to is a 2010 pact that Lord Pearson essentially made with the Conservatives, which was driven by the goal of ensuring the House of Commons is packed with as many Eurosceptics as possible. And what I think UKIP are worrying about is if they took 15% of the vote in City of Chester, for argument's sake, they could keep Labour in that seat, right? And they could keep a pro-Remain MP in that seat. But I thought they were supposed to be about more than just Brexit, according to them. Well, I guess they are. I mean, I guess they've been trying to get some traction with this anti-Islam issue over the last couple of days. They've been trying to talk about things like electoral reform and so on. I think in reality, though, most UKIPers would concede that their share of the national vote will probably go down to 6%, 7%, something like that. Now, for Theresa May, that has massive consequences. For the Labour Party, right, this is the interesting point for me. The last 3 years, the Labour Party has been panicking about the rise of UKIP. I think the Labour Party is going to start worrying about the collapse of UKIP because those votes going back to the Conservatives are going to have all kinds of repercussions. What about the Progressive Alliance, if we look between the Greens, the Liberal Democrats and Labour? Is that only going to function at a sort of local level where individual agreements are made? I imagine so. I'm not entirely convinced it's going to function at all. We're not seeing the kind of unity, the cohesion that you would need for that kind of pact to take place with less than 50 days to go until the election. This is an incredibly complicated state of affairs. But also, just take the Liberal Democrats as an example. The Liberal Democrats are hoping they can give the Conservatives a bloody nose in the southwest of England as an example. But look at some of those seats. Some of those seats have a majority Leave vote. So how are the Lib Dems going to get traction in seats where voters are going to say, do I vote tactically for the Lib Dems, or do I vote for what I really want and what I voted for at the referendum, which is Brexit? So I'm not entirely convinced, Joe, that this election is going to be this sort of mega big realignment election yet. I think the evidence is a little bit mixed. I think we're going to be finding ourselves on June 8th going from one region to the next, thinking, well, how is this playing out? Is UKIP hitting the Conservatives in more northern seats where voters still view the Conservative Party as toxic? But will they hit the Labour Party in more southern seats where voters are just shifting from UKIP to the Conservatives? Are these suggestions of tactical voting really from a position of weakness and desperation? Or, in the age of social media, could there be quite an impact? Not just the UKIP-Tory sort of split, but across the left as well? My own view is that tactical voting is always this big, exciting debate that we get into ahead of an election, but it never really materialises on election day. A little bit like 18 to 24-year-olds turning out to vote to change the course of history. It never really happens, does it? So I think we'll sort of come back and have this discussion after the election and find that actually there was very minimal signs of tactical voting generally. We will see a shift from UKIP to the Conservatives I don't think that's so much tactical. I would say that's more expressive. That's traditional social conservatives coming home, if you like. I don't think that's actually tactical in that sense. Labour Party may find itself on a really bad day getting hit on multiple fronts. That desertion back to Theresa May, perhaps in some seats a drift over to the Lib Dems, but perhaps also another tactical decision. I'm going to stay at home.
Yes. We'll be talking a lot more about that over the coming weeks. Matthew Goodwin, thank you for coming in.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.